Thanks for being here on Red Hunt. Let's jump into a story that got people seriously divided. In Finland, we pay a deposit of 10 to 40 cents for every bottle when purchased. This deposit is refunded when the bottle is returned for recycling. Yesterday, two boys wearing local football club t-shirts came to my door asking for bottles. Since I had a few, I decided to give them some. One of the bottles was a small 250 milliliter glass bottle. I felt happy supporting the local kids, and they seemed pleased to receive the money from these bottles. A few hours later, when I took my dogs outside, I found the glass bottle had been discarded in our yard. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that it had not had the deposit paid, making it essentially worthless. I cleaned up the broken pieces and decided to post in our city's Facebook group, expressing my displeasure that the kids had taken all the valuable bottles but had broken the worthless bottle in my yard, which could have posed a danger to my dogs or me. The Facebook group provided several responses. One person asked why I would give worthless bottles to the children, suggesting they were not collecting trash. I believed they would get money from the bottles. I keep all my bottles in one place and recycle them even if I do not receive payment for them. Another comment pointed out that the children could not carry glass bottles because they were too heavy. I questioned why they could play football but not carry the bottles they voluntarily collected from people. Someone suggested that I should have asked the children what kind of bottles they wanted, stating that they were very nice and polite with me. I wondered why I should have asked them anything. They came to my door and simply asked, "Do you have bottles?" There was no thank you, no explanation about whether the money even went to the football club, nothing at all. Another response noted that the children received free bottles and should have taken all of them to recycling or at least left the glass bottle at my door. I agreed, or they could have deposited it in the glass recycling bin they passed on their way out. I understand that from the children's perspective, I may appear to be in the wrong. They want to make money with minimal effort. However, I did not expect that adults would also view me as the bad guy. So, am I the antagonist for giving the children one worthless glass bottle? You did the right thing by helping those kids out. They asked for bottles and you gave them what you had, even one that didn't have a deposit. You weren't trying to dump trash on them, you just didn't know that bottle wasn't worth anything. Honestly, it's not fair that they broke it in your yard. I mean, kids know basic right and wrong, so smashing a bottle, that's just not cool. They could have easily said no thanks instead of making a mess. It's glass, not something dangerous. You didn't mean any harm, and it's really annoying that you were disrespected for trying to help. The school and the coach will probably want to hear about this vandalism too. They usually take situations like this pretty seriously. Am I the jerk for making a group of people hate on each other? I am a 17-year-old girl living in Italy, currently in my third year of high school. Our education system differs from the American one. High school lasts 5 years and we begin at the age of 13. We remain in the same class with the same peers for all 5 years and cannot switch classes. In my first year, I made friends with some girls. Our class is small, consisting of 15 students, and is divided into 2 friend groups. My group included myself and 3 girls, whom I will refer to as Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe. At the same time, I developed a close friendship with another girl, whom I will call Janice, who belonged to the other group. Despite being in different groups, Janice and I became good friends and often spent time together. By the second year, Janice and I felt that neither group really suited us. In my group, there were close pairs of friends. Rachel and Monica were always together, while Phoebe relied on me to complete her homework. My group began to speak negatively about Janice without realizing that we were friends. I felt trapped, not wanting to betray my friends, but also feeling guilty about not warning Janice. The situation escalated when Janice accidentally saw a mean message about her from Rachel that appeared as a notification on my phone screen while we were sitting next to each other. Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe noticed Janice's reaction and assumed I had shown her the messages. Without consulting me, they removed me from the group chat and blocked me on all platforms. I then decided to show Janice the mean messages. I realize now that this action was unnecessary, as it confirmed their suspicion that I had shared the texts. However, I was only 14 years old at the time and frustrated with the 3 girls who were speaking negatively about everyone. After this incident, I did not want to confront or reconcile with them. Eventually, Janice forgave Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe because she did not want to avoid the people she would be with for the next 5 years. She began to spend time with them, while I remained blocked and avoided any confrontation. As they became closer, I lost contact with Janice. Feeling excluded, I tried to spend time with Janice's group, but they behaved similarly, gossiping and speaking poorly about others. They informed me that Janice pretended to be friends with Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe just to gather information and gossip about them. They also mentioned that Janice had disliked Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe since the first year and believed I should have been part of their group. After that, I decided to stop socializing with any classmates and chose to ignore all of them. This year, Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe reached out to me. We began to hang out again, somewhat reconciling without addressing the past. They still blame me for everything, but enduring high school without friends feels unbearable, so I spent the entire year with them. Recently, I informed them about what Janice's group still thinks of them and shared what I learned last year, as the other group began speaking negatively about me as well now that I was back with Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe. Now there is animosity among everyone, and no one wants to confront the issue because they all pretend that no one is speaking poorly behind each other's backs. Am I the one at fault for causing this tension? Wow, this sounds like a real mess. I mean, high school drama can be so exhausting, right? Especially when you're stuck with the same people for years. It's tough to navigate those friend groups, especially when they start turning on each other. It seems like you were caught in the middle, with no way to escape. I can't blame you for wanting to dodge confrontation, but it's really rough to see friendships fall apart like that. Janice might have her reasons for trying to fit in, but it's honestly a bummer to hear you lost touch because of it. Now it feels like everyone's just gossiping and blaming each other. Sometimes it's best to step back and let them sort it out, you know. It's tough to make everyone feel good in a mess like this, but you definitely deserve better than all this drama. Am I the jerk for missing my partner's graduation? My boyfriend, who is 25 years old, and I, who am 24 years old, have been together for 1 year and 7 months. I graduated with my master's degree in December, and he came down for the week to support me. He informed me that he would graduate in the spring on May 9th, a date I confirmed with him several times. In October, my best friend invited me to go on her law school graduation cruise, which was scheduled to start on May 10th. I thought I would do something similar to what he did and arrive a few days before his ceremony, then leave afterward. I paid a deposit for the cruise and moved forward with my plans. In February, a few days before I needed to pay the remainder for my spot on the cruise, he informed me that his graduation date was actually May 10th, the same day the cruise departed. I was very upset because I did not want to miss his ceremony and I did not want to disappoint his parents, who had come to see me walk at my graduation. However, my best friend was working with a travel agent, and the rate we had secured was a group rate. If I canceled, they would have to rebook the entire trip, resulting in higher prices for everyone. I decided to pay the balance for the cruise and figure things out later. I tried to find a way to make both events work, but my boyfriend expressed his disappointment and advised me not to. We had an argument where he stated that he felt it was unfair for me to blame him and that I should not have made any plans for his graduation week. I countered by explaining that with everything I was managing at the time, such as job hunting, finishing graduation requirements, defending my thesis, and presenting my research at conferences, I did not think it was fair for him to expect me to double-check his date. I took his word for it as it was his ceremony and felt he put me in a difficult position. He assured me he would not hold it against me, but he was upset that I would not be there. In the week leading up to the cruise and his graduation, he began to act strangely. When I pressed him to share his feelings, he sent me a long message expressing that he would have never missed my ceremony and was not excited about his own. He felt the day was supposed to celebrate his hard work, but instead, he was worried about me being on a boat. He also mentioned that I had not officially told him about my plans for the cruise, and he and his family had hoped I would come to surprise him. I tried to be understanding, respecting his feelings, even if I did not agree with them. While I was on the cruise, he sent me another message stating that my absence from his ceremony was unacceptable and deeply hurt him and his family. He mentioned that his parents' view of me had changed since they saw him go above and beyond for me, and not showing up left a negative impression. Since returning, I have not felt inclined to talk to him because this situation is overwhelming. Am I in the wrong? Hey, it's pretty wild that his folks had to let him come to your graduation, right? I mean, he's 25 years old. And seriously, how did he not know you were going on a cruise between October and December? That's a pretty big thing to keep from your boyfriend. I'm not sure why he didn't seem to have a clue about your plans. It's not like you had to ask for permission to celebrate your own graduation. You did nothing wrong in this mess, but it really makes you wonder about their dynamic. It sounds like some communication issues are going on here. I just hope he can figure it out and support you like he should. Am I the jerk for telling my partner not to ask my parent for their blessing before proposing? I am a 29-year-old female, and my boyfriend is a 28-year-old male. We are planning to elope later this year. Our journey together has been long and winding. We met in 2018 while I was finishing college, and he was stationed in the same town for the military. After I graduated and he got stationed overseas, we ended our relationship and went our separate ways. However, we stayed friends over the years and eventually found our way back to each other. We have had all the important conversations about communication, values, personal growth, and the kind of life we want to build together. I feel confident and excited about this decision. Here is the issue: I told my boyfriend not to ask my father for his blessing or permission before we get married. This decision is not meant to be disrespectful, but the tradition does not resonate with me. Even as a teenager, it felt outdated and rooted in a time when women were viewed as property. I was raised to be independent, to speak up for myself, and to make choices that reflect my identity, not to follow customs simply because they are expected. My boyfriend was supportive of my wishes. He offered to talk to my father, but I insisted he should not do so. I want to make this decision as a grown woman who knows her own heart. The challenge is that I come from an Asian Hawaiian family where tradition holds significant importance. Recently, I learned that my mother was upset about my decision. She told my sister something along the lines of, "We know this tradition isn't who she is, but it's our tradition and it's about respect." It seemed as though she was more upset that I did not adhere to their expectations, despite my honesty about our plans. For context, I have two sisters. One of their husbands asked for my father's permission, while the other did not. This indicates that the tradition is not a strict requirement in our family. Nonetheless, I feel as though I am being singled out as the disrespectful one for making a choice that aligns more with my values than with those of my family. I am not attempting to exclude anyone or keep secrets. I did not elope in secrecy or spring it on them at the last minute. I chose to be open and transparent. However, I now feel that my honesty is being used against me, and once again I am expected to conform to their way of thinking simply because that is how it is done. So, am I the one in the wrong for telling my boyfriend not to ask my father for his blessing? You know, it's kind of interesting how asking for parental blessings usually goes one way. I mean, when a guy asks a girl's dad for permission, it kind of feels like a nod to those old-fashioned views, right? Some people even see it as disrespectful, especially if the couple is modern and independent. It's their marriage, so honestly, they can totally skip traditions that just don't fit them. And like, why not have brides ask their fiancés' families too? That would make it so much more balanced. Moving away from those patriarchal customs. Yeah, that can be a really healthy step. Everyone deserves to feel respected in their choices, you know. It's really all about what works for the couple, not what tradition says. There's no need to stick to those outdated norms when you can create your own path. You did nothing wrong for choosing what feels right. Am I the jerk for being angry because my parent didn't do anything for my birthday, instead offering a gift for my sibling? I have had a complicated relationship with my father for a long time. We have had about 3 arguments in the past, which resulted in us not talking for more than half a year. I would eventually reach out to him again because I felt bad, especially considering he has some health issues and adult problems that I will not elaborate on. Last summer we had another argument and I stopped talking to him. However, I still met up with him for family birthdays and Christmas. On Easter, we met again and our grandmother gave my older sister around $50, as grandmothers often do. However, I did not receive anything because my father specifically told her not to give me any money. I decided not to dwell on it and moved on. Recently, I celebrated my 17th birthday, which was a decent day for me, as I do not particularly enjoy birthdays. I received a lovely gift from my mother and sister, but my father only sent me a brief birthday message. My grandmother on my father's side also sent a message, suggesting that I should love my father more. I brushed it off. The day after my birthday, my father wanted my older sister to come over to his place for some reason. She invited me to accompany her, and since his birthday is approaching and mine had just passed, I agreed to join her for just 5 minutes. When I arrived, my father seemed surprised since my sister had not informed him I would be there. He mostly ignored me during my visit, but at the end, he asked how it felt to be 17. I I replied that I had yet to get used to it, and then he left the room. Soon after, he returned with a plush toy that he gave to my sister as a gift for no special occasion. About a month ago, he took her to a foreign country for the weekend, and I was not invited because of our last argument during a trip. He claimed that I ruined the trip, which is why he did not offer to take me. Apparently, my sister had seen a cute plush toy there but did not have time to buy it, so he got her a similar one. I did not say anything at the time, but as we left and I was alone with my mother, I broke down. As I write this, I feel awful about it. I worry that I might be overreacting and acting spoiled. I would appreciate an honest response. I apologize for any grammatical mistakes, as English is not my first language. Thank you for taking the time to read my post, and I hope to receive a sincere answer. You did nothing wrong. I mean, your dad is definitely trying to manipulate you with gifts and trips, and that's just not how a real father should act. It's really important to have a calm talk with him about how his actions are making you feel. Honestly, money can't replace the love and support you deserve. You might find that he responds poorly and even drags your grandma into it, which just isn't fair to you. Good people don't make their kids feel this way, and it's tough to deal with. Your grandma should treat you fairly, no matter the drama with your dad. It might help to understand why you both resort to the silent treatment and why he keeps punishing you. Therapy could really be beneficial for everyone involved to work through these issues. Good luck, OP. You deserve so much better. Am I the jerk for not helping to clean after dinner? Or is my friend TA for asking me to leave because of it? I am posting here because I am feeling confused and conflicted about a situation involving a close friend of mine. Yesterday was a national holiday in my country, and I met up with a friend I had not seen in a year. We decided to hang out in the city center, where he had some other friends and roommates around. We went to a pub first and then headed to their place to grill, eat, drink, and socialize. The dinner was going well and everyone was drinking and having a good time. I admit I was drinking quite a bit, but I believe I was being respectful as I mostly just chatted with people and listened to conversations. However, I did not help with the cleanup after dinner. Looking back, everyone else seemed to pitch in. I was feeling quite drunk and thought I would be more in the way if I joined, so I stayed on the couch, setting up music and talking. Then out of nowhere, my friend told me, "Okay, that is enough. The door is over there. You are welcome to leave." This was said in the middle of the living room. At first, I thought it was a joke, as did another person sitting next to me, but then my friend repeated it in a more serious tone. I was shocked and just sat there for a couple of minutes, especially because there was no warning beforehand. The entire vibe shifted and I felt unwelcome. I decided to send him some money for the food and alcohol and left without saying anything. Later that night, he texted me, "I am sorry for putting you on the spot in front of the others. That was not right. You were being a really bad guest today, but I should have addressed it more privately." An hour after he sent me that text, I responded. To be honest, I just wanted to know why he felt the need to ask me to leave. I said thank you for reaching out and for apologizing. I really appreciate it. Honestly, I was quite surprised by what happened. I was genuinely happy to see you again after so long and thought we were all having a nice time together. I had no intention of being a bad guest, but I understand that my behavior might have come off wrong. I would really like to understand better what exactly I did that was perceived as rude or disrespectful. Was it just that I did not help with the cleanup, or was there something more? What I remember is sitting on the couch, controlling the music and talking to people. I was quite drunk and might have missed something, but it is important for me to hear your side of it so I can avoid doing it again. Now I am sitting here trying to figure out if I was actually the one at fault in this situation. It has been a day since I sent that text and I have not received a response. Was I being rude by not helping to clean, or could the problem be that I drank too much? I was not loud otherwise. I would really appreciate some insights here. Thank you. Dude, it kinda sounds like you might have been that annoying drunk that everyone dreads, you know. I mean, drunk people often don't really see how disruptive they can be. And based on how your friend usually acts, it seems likely you were a bit clueless and honestly kinda rude. Maybe you made some loud comments or took over the music, which can really bug people at parties. It's possible your vibe was just uncomfortable enough to push your friend over the edge. I'm not sure if the lack of help played a huge role, but it might have been the last straw. Honestly, you could be the one in the wrong here. So keep us posted on how your friend responds. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.